Good afternoon, everyone. We're back, and we are going to be in our second session of the hearing today, which is the afternoon session. The session was scheduled to begin at 1:30, so we are going to be dealing with items 19 through 33. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcoming you to the Committee of Adjustment hearing for the Scarborough District. Today is October 20th. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, which is an online digital platform and streamed onto the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, or a tablet app. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, the participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participant will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Before we begin, we acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to any property, permissions to alter or extend lawful nonconforming uses, and consents to sever property to create additional new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wishes to receive a copy of the decision of the committee and applicant on any application, they must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you will include your name, address, and an email address because Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, the TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the TLAB or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, the OLT. Appeals instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call each item in the order that's listed on the agenda throughout the hearing. In terms of making your submissions, when an application is uncontested, the agent or the applicant will proceed with their presentation if the committee desires or requires so. The committee may ask questions or take the matter to committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or the agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching those 5 minutes. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters as are outlined in the application. The applicant or the agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if the application is substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and all those who are entitled to the notice of the revised application are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition to the application, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or the agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Please note for this afternoon session, which we have just initiated, we will be dealing with items 19 to 33. Are there any declarations of interest of panel or staff for items in this time slot, which are items 19 to 33? Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, I would like to declare a conflict of interest on item number 31 for 1361 to 1365 Military Trail. The agent is an acquaintance of mine. So this is for item 31, and I would request Member M to chair that meeting for both the vetting as well as the actual deliberation, if the matter is held. Thank you. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are there any requests for deferral for items in this time slot?
Through the chair, there are two deferral requests. The first one is item 19, 6 Fallingbrook Road. It's the deferral request at the request of the applicant. The applicant has submitted a revised zoning review, which will result in a revised application. The applicant will not be attending the hearing, but has submitted this request in writing.
Thank you, Colin. Members of the committee, we have a deferral request for item 19 for reasons as explained by DST. Any comment or a motion? Member M, please go ahead.
Put forward a motion of deferral to allow the applicant to proceed with their zoning review and amended application.
Thank you.
Sign and died, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconder, Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, I second that motion to defer this application. Thank you.
All right. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application has been deferred sine die. Any other requests?
Through the chair, the second deferral request is item 20, 18 Larwood Boulevard. The deferral request is at the request of the applicant, since the applicant needs to confirm the requested variances with Toronto Buildings.
Okay, thank you. I understand, are they available to speak with us today? So it's either JC, Raju Kenneth, or Faisal. JC, okay, JC?
Yeah, it's me, Jace Rajan. Yeah. Yes. Thank you and good afternoon, committee members. The client need to have some changes, so we would like to get a revised zoning notice, and we informed this committee as well. So we would like to defer.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any concerns with the request for deferral? I see none. I just want to make a note for all the registered speakers who have registered with us, Eric and Deborah Martin and Sarah Brooks, that we have a request for deferral, and the committee will make a decision on the request for deferral. Members of the committee may have a motion on this request. Member Said, please go ahead. Member Said, we can't hear you.
So sorry for this delay.
No problem.
Madam Chair, I will move the motion for deferral of item number 20 because this deferral has been requested by the applicant for revision of the application. Thank you.
All right, we have a seconder. Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, I second that motion to defer sine die.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously. The application has been deferred sine die. Thank you. We now move to item number 21. Sorry, before I do that, any further requests for deferral?
Through the chair, there are none.
Okay,
So you may wish to vet the agenda if you wish.
thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, I think we have another deferral to item number 33. I think so.
Oh, my apologies. That is correct. So, thank you, Member Said.
Thank you.
There is a third and last deferral request. It's for item 33, 36 Amiens Road. It's at the request of the applicant to address concerns identified by neighbors.
All right, do we have the agent to speak with us? Jonathan?
Hi, Madam Chair.
Hi, Jonathan. So you have a request for deferral. Could you please elaborate on the request?
Yeah, I spoke with the immediate neighbor to the north yesterday. We're going to bring the house in line with his dwelling. It actually will remove a variance, but in full transparency, I said I'm not comfortable pushing this forward today. So I'd like to request a deferral, even though it will just be the removal of an actual variance that we've come to an agreement on.
Okay, but you wish to defer so that you can look at it thoroughly?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
Thank you. So again, we had two members of the public registered with us, Gordon Restivo and Rick Buckingham. So if you're listening in, please note that we have a request for deferral as expressed by the applicant, and the committee is going to make a decision on it. Members of the committee, we have a motion on the request for deferral. Member McCauley.
Thank you. I put forth a motion for deferral of item number 33 as it applies to 36 Amiens Road, and that'd be a deferral sine die.
Okay, may I have a seconder? Member McKay?
I second that motion, Madam Chair.
Right, all in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application's been deferred sine die. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was the last request for deferral?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so now I will vet the agenda in the order as listed on the agenda. So item 19 and 20 have been deferred. Item 21, 1475 Birchmount Road. Can we have the agent Michelle below? Michelle?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michelle. So we have your application, and I will just check with the committee if they have any questions. Committee members, any questions? I see none. There are no registered speakers, and there are no conditions as well. Michelle, any comments before we take the matter into committee?
No, I don't have a particularly formal presentation as the application is quite simple, given that the application is really just seeking to legalize the existing condition and not to construct new.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Michelle. So members of the committee, we just heard the applicant with the application proposal. Any comments? I see none. All right, can I have a motion then? This is the application for 1475 Birchmount Road. Member M.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I put forward a motion of approval for item number 21 for 1475 Birchmount Road. There are no conditions attached to this approval.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Chair, I second that motion.
Through the chair, I just want to seek clarification here before the motion is passed. I believe that this it would be as amended. The approval as amended. Let me just check here.
Yes.
So whatever is shown on the notice.
Yes, because I believe that there was a subsequent revision to the notice which Katrina is putting on. Yes, it's the variance number 3 is deleted. So my recommendation is if the committee wants to approve it, they approve it as amended.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back to the mover, and the mover was member M.
Madam Chair, are we talking item number 21 or 22?
Yes.
Because these changes are in item 22.
No, it's item 21.
We're item 21.
Item 21.
Yeah.
So there are no changes recommended there in
No,
item
so if you look at the
21.
public notice, member Said, if
There
you look
is?
at the public notice, variance number 3 has been struck out. And
I
a
will amend
portion,
my motion.
yeah,
I apologize.
and number 2 as
I will
well.
amend.
Okay, so let me talk first, please. This is item 21, 1475 Birchmount Road. Variance 1 remains the same. Variance number 2, there's a minor modification with the removal of that 19 of which are undersized, that has been removed. And variance number 3 has also been withdrawn by the applicant as per the updated cover letter. So member M, now you can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward a motion of approval of the application for 1475 Birchmount Road, subject to the amendment of variance number 2, which removes the 19 undersized parking stalls, as well as the complete removal of variance number 3.
Thank you. Now, can I have a seconder? Member Macaulay had seconded it. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second that amendment as it has been, and appreciate the work that the applicant has done to satisfy the conditions so that we can remove item number 3.
Okay, all right, so you're seconding the motion that was put forward by Member M. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application has been approved as amended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to item number 22, and item number 22 is for 14 Penzance Drive. And we have the applicant Kaushik Suthar. Kaushik, you're with us?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee member.
Good afternoon. Kaushik, you are aware of the conditions of urban forestry?
Yes, I am aware of that one.
And you have no concerns?
Yeah, I have no concern for that.
Okay, all right. Just for record, we have received 2 letters of opposition and 5 letters of support as well. Members of the committee, any questions for Kaushik? This is also amended? Okay, so this application has also been amended. So again, members of the committee, take a look at item number 22. The public notice indicates that the application has been amended, very similar to the first one. Variance number 2 has been modified and variance number 3 has been withdrawn. Okay, all right. So now we have this amended application before us. May I have a motion, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the motion for approval of item number 22 as amended and subject to the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M?
I second
Through
the
the
amended approval.
chair, sorry to interrupt. The public notice that's actually on the, that was posted is actually a previous version. Can you post the most recent version? It's in the supplementary agenda. I just want to make sure the committee has, if that's been reviewed.
So on the supplementary agenda, there are 5 variances that are listed. There's no amendment here.
I agree. The number 3 wasn't taken out.
Well, and it's a different public notice. So what's on the
And
agenda?
it's for the, yeah, yes, that's correct.
Yes. Mr. Suthar, you
Yes.
should have spoken up when we were looking at the incorrect public notice.
I will figure out that one, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so these are the variances. There's no amendment here.
That's correct. So if the committee was going to approve it, no amendments. Sorry about that.
It's okay. All right. So, all right.
I'm
Members of
still
the,
okay with the variances before us.
so this is the, so you're fine with the variances? Okay, so who put forward the motion, remind me? Member Said, please go ahead.
Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I revise my motion for item number 22. I move the motion for approval of this application subject to the condition of urban forestry.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Member M?
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
All right, all in favor of this motion? Motion's carried unanimously. Application for item 22 has been approved, subject to conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 23 is 2 Heather Road. And can we have the architect Murtaza Davari? Murtaza?
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I'm Murtaza Davari.
Okay, thank you, Murtaza. Murtaza, we are dealing with your application here. Are you aware of the community planning staff report and the recommendation that should the committee approve it, that it be tied to the plans?
If you wish, I can provide the report.
No. We have the report. I'm asking, you have read the report and do you have any concern with the recommended condition?
No,
Or you have no concerns with the recommended condition?
I would like to get the approval for the two minor variances.
Okay, so we have a staff report from Community Planning dated September 26th, and the committee and the Community Planning is recommended that should the Committee of Adjustment approve the requested variances, that the following condition be imposed. 1, the owner shall build substantially in accordance with the drawing number A01 prepared by MD Building Design dated August 18th, 2021, and as detailed on Figure 1 attached to this report from the Director of Community Planning, dated September 28th. Any other variances that may appear in these plans but are not listed in the written decision are not authorized.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, you're okay with this condition?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So members of the committee, the applicant has acknowledged the condition, so should the committee approve this application, here's the recommended condition. And there are no other speakers, so committee members, may I have a motion, please? Member M.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward a motion of approval for item number 23, subject to the community planning conditions to tie the construction to the plans, as well as urban forestry condition. Oh, wait, there is no urban forestry condition, so just the
There,
community.
there is no condition there, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, may I have a seconder, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval.
All right, all in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application has been approved subject to condition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We now go to item number 24. Item number 24 is 18 Willowhurst Crescent. And we have Arjang Bahisht with us. Arjang, you with us?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. This is Hamid Behesht from Homeland, the co-designer of the house from 49 Wycliffe Crescent in Toronto.
Okay, and Arjang, we have your application before us. There are some conditions from urban forestry, and you're aware of those conditions?
I think, Madam Chair, there's a approval from TRCA.
No, I'm not talking about TRC. I'm talking about the city's urban forestry services. There's two conditions have been recommended for approval, condition number 2 and 3. So condition number 2 is that the applicant submit a complete application for permit to injure or remove a privately owned tree. And condition number 3 is that where there's no existing tree, the owner shall provide payment in lieu of planting.
Absolutely no problem, Madam Chair. We agree with those conditions.
Those conditions, okay. And there are no other conditions from either TRC or RNF or the Ravine Protection.
RNFP.
Okay, RNFP, thank you. So, members of the committee, any comments, or are you ready with a motion? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very straightforward application. There are 2 variances attached to that, front yard setback and exterior wall. I think both the variances are minor, appropriate. With that, I move the motion for approval of item number 24, subject to the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M?
I second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? And the motion is carried unanimously. Well, not unanimously because I'm missing Member Macaulay here. She appears to have disappeared. Oh, she's there. She's there. Okay. So the application's approved unanimously. Yeah, we lost you
Thank you very much.
for a second. Thank you. We now go to item number 25. Item number 25 is 16 Cushenden Road. Can we have Brad Mitchell as the homeowner, please? Brad, you with us?
Brad Mitchell is here, but we also have Human, the designated architect, on the line.
Yep. So do you have any, well, before I do, committee members, any questions for Brad or Human? Okay, I see none. And I don't believe there are any conditions. For record, I would say there are 10 letters of support that we have received. Okay, members of the committee, if there are no questions, can I have a motion, please? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of this application. There are no conditions.
So member Macaulay was very choppy, but what I heard was that you have a motion to approve the application and there are no conditions. Correct? Okay, correct. May I have a seconder, please? Member M, please go ahead.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application for 16 Crescendon Road has been approved. We now go to item number 26, and item number 26 is 39 Eleanor Avenue. Can I have the applicant, Nafisa Zangiabadi?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Hi, Nafisa, just bear with me. Nafisa, you're aware of the urban forestry conditions?
There was nothing on the website, but
Okay,
can you
so
tell me what is the condition?
sure. So urban forestry is recommending a condition of approval, and that is a condition number 2. And condition number 2 is that the applicant submit a complete application for a permit to injure or remove a privately owned tree as per City of Toronto code.
Okay, sure. We're okay with that.
There you go. So Katrine has it on the screen for you. That's the proposed condition.
Okay, yeah, we're okay with that.
Okay, perfect. All right, members of the committee, we have confirmation from the applicant now. Katrine, that they are aware of the condition, if they have no concerns. Do you have any questions? And if there are no questions, can I have a motion? This is 39 Eleanor Avenue. Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This too is a very straightforward application. Both the variances attached to application are minor, appropriate. I would therefore move a motion for approval of item number 26, subject to the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. We have a seconder. Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, I second that motion to approve this application.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application's approved subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we now go to our next one. Item number 27, 61 Calisonia Avenue. We have the agent here, Peter Giordano. Peter, you with us?
I am here, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Peter, are you aware of the conditions from urban forestry? There's a condition number 3.
Yes, I'm aware of that and I accept that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And just for record, we have received letters of support and petition and support as well. Members of the committee, any questions or comments? Okay, see none. All right, then can I have a motion, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Peter, for acknowledging the urban forestry condition. Madam Chair, I move the motion for approval of item number 27, subject to the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously. The application's approved. Thank you.
Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Too. Item number 28, 108 Pine Grove Avenue. And we have the agent and the owner as Kellen Unruh. Kellen, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee.
Good afternoon, Kellen. So we have your application before us. There are no conditions, as I understand. Members of the committee, any questions for Kellen? I see none. Okay. Can I have a motion then, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Both the variances are pertaining to the lot coverage. They are minor in nature, appropriate. So I move the motion for approval of item number 28, and there are no conditions to that.
Okay, may I have a seconder? Member Macaulay? We could not hear you.
I will second that motion.
All right, Member Macaulay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously. The application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving to item number 29. Item number 29 is 30 Scarborough Avenue. And can we have Giorgio Frasca as the agent? Giorgio.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Giorgio. Should the committee approve this application, Urban Forestry has recommended condition of approval, which is condition number 2. You have any questions on that?
Can you please just point it out so we're all on the same page?
Sure. So the Urban Forestry has recommended condition number 2, and condition number 2 reads as submission of a complete application for a permit to injure or remove a privately owned tree as per City of Toronto Municipal Code Chapter 813. There you go.
That is fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you have no questions or concerns with the proposed condition?
No.
Thank you. All right, members of the committee, we have confirmation from the applicant on the condition. Can I have a motion, please? Member Gary.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would move approval of this application on Scarborough Avenue, subject to the urban forestry condition.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? All in favor of this motion? And I did not see Member Macaulay. Okay. The application's carried. All 4 members have voted in favor of the motion, so the application has been approved. Thank you. Members know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Staff know that Member Macaulay is also there. Okay, we got you, Member Macaulay. So it was a unanimous decision.
Thanks again.
Thank you, thank you. It was a unanimous, Colin. Okay, we now move to item 30. Item 30, I'm going to hold it down because there was a request from Member Said. Member Said, do you want to hold down this item and come back to it? This is 4626 Kingston Road.
I would appreciate, Madam Chair, if we have a short presentation after waiting. Thank you.
Okay, so the architects and the team representing on this application, please know that this item is being held for a presentation as requested by Member Said. Thank you. Next item is item 31, and as I declared, I have a conflict, so I would step away and I would let Member M to deal with this application.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 31, which is 1361 to 1365 Military Trail. And it's several applications. The first is a consent to sever. And then there is 3 associated minor variances to that severance request. I have Nadeem Ifran as the agent applicant. Can we please bring Nadeem online, please?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. This is Nadeem.
Nadeem, we do have a few speakers registered in opposition to your applications. It is also, you know, quite a number of applications before us. So I would like to ask you, would you like to give a presentation regarding your services and associated variances? Would you like committee members just to ask specific questions?
Through the chair, there are no speakers in opposition. I think it's only the applicant who's registered as a speaker. This is for item 31.
Oh, I apologize. I was looking at item 32. My apologies, Secretary Treasurer. All right, so Nadeem, I apologize. I thought there was registered speakers. That being said, I wanted to offer you still the ability to make a presentation should you like, or I can canvass my fellow members to see if they have any specific questions related to your various applications, and we can just jump into questions. It's up to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make a small presentation.
Okay, by all means, you have 5 minutes.
Yes. So I would request Katrine to bring the exhibit 1, which is the lot study, and then after that, exhibit 2, which is the
Through the chair, we're still in vetting right now. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. You're correct. So would the members like to hold down this item, or will you like to deliberate on this item?
Madam Chair, as the applicant was willing to have a presentation on that, so I would like to have a presentation. Thank you.
Understood. Okay, thank you. We will hold down this item. My apologies.
Thank you, Member M, for assisting me with that item. Item 31 has been held down. Item number 32 is 39 Meadow Avenue, and yes, the application has to be held down here as well because we have some speakers here. So item 32, which is 39 Meadow Avenue, is being held. Okay, I think item 33 was deferred. So that brings us to the end of the vetting of the agenda. I just want to recap the items that have been held. First item that was held is item number 30, item 31, and item 32. Okay, 3 items held, 30, 31, 32. Okay, so let's start with the first item that's held, item 30. Oh, sorry.
Through you, Madam Chair, we keep losing a member Macaulay, and I do see that it says that she has low bandwidth, and this has been happening while the video is off. Maybe member Macaulay could switch to a different location, because it keeps coming up as an error with the triangle.
So would it be appropriate if member Macaulay was to turn her video? But I won't be able to see then. No. We'll go with the flow. Member M, I appreciate that, but the thing is that we have to just, because I need to see her, right? When you guys raise your hands, I need to see you.
So, a member Ann, maybe for future reference, for some reason, wherever you are located right now, it has pretty poor bandwidth. So for future hearings, we might need to consider, like, if you could actually hard plug into your modem would be good.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I just want to make sure. Staff, is there anything?
It was the video.
Okay, we're good. We were just trying to make sure if everything was technically good here, so it's all good. So first item, item 30.
I can move it.
Member Macaulay, you're saying something?
Yes, I'm getting these orange triangles on SCC. But
Yeah.
as soon as I move my mouse to your spot, I'm okay. I don't know if that's the problem that Amy is having as well.
No, Amy's not having. She was mentioning that you were having the issue and that it's causing interruption. So she was just kind of cautioning you. So it's I think the bandwidth is at your end. Okay? All right. Let's get going. We'll deal with it as we go through. Item 30 is 4626 Kingston Road. The architect is Kevin Hutchinson. Can we have Kevin, please? Perfect, Kevin.
Madam Chair, I'm here. Thank you.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Kevin. So Kevin, one of our committee members has requested for a brief presentation. So I don't know if it would be yourself or anybody else on your panel who have registered.
It would be me primarily.
Okay, all right. So please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of the committee. We're pleased to present to you our minor variance application for the development proposal at 4626 Kingston Road. This project is a supportive housing project looking for a single variance related to parking count. The next slide. This project forms part of a larger city-led initiative. Since December 2020, the city has led the development of 12 supportive housing projects across 11 different wards. 3 of these projects are complete, with another 9 of them underway, representing a total of around 1,000 homes. It's worth noting that 2 of these projects that have been completed are modular supportive housing projects that are similar in scale and character to this proposal, and neither of those 2 completed projects provided any parking whatsoever. Next slide, please. The lands are located in Ward 20 of the former municipality of Scarborough at Kingston Road and Orchard Park. The nearest major intersection is Kingston Road and Morningside Avenue. We are looking to provide 86 supportive housing units, including associated supports and amenity spaces for those residents. It's important to note that the residents of this building will be people who have experienced or are at risk of chronic homelessness, and that almost by definition, this population has a very low car ownership rate. Next slide, please. There are 2 parts to this project. The city bought the lands in 2021, and the first phase was the renovation of the existing motel building at the north end of the site to provide 22 new homes. Next slide, please. The second part of the project is the development of a 5-story modular constructed supportive housing building that would also provide supports for the 22 units in the motel building, generally in the middle of the site. Next slide, please. On the site currently are 2 structures. North is to the right on this page. So at the north end of the site is the existing motel building, which is proposed to be retained and renovated. And on the top left or the southwest corner of the site, an existing building will be demolished. That's the former house form administrative building for the hotel. Slide, please. This is the new proposed site plan. The new modular building is centered in the lot biased towards Orchard Park. And again, you can see on the right-hand side is the renovated motel building. There are outdoor amenity spaces provided for the residents of both of these buildings in the side yard and the rear yard. It's important to note here that particularly for this population that has experienced homelessness, outdoor amenity spaces being high quality and ample are particularly important for this population. On the bottom of the site, so that would be the east side, is a new proposed driveway. This driveway provides fire department access both to the modular building as well as the motel building in the rear. Highlighted in yellow, you can see we are proposing 3 parking spaces, 2 standard, 1 of them barrier-free. There are turnaround facilities provided on site so that passenger vehicles always exit the site in a forward motion. Next slide, please. This is another site plan, just rotated so north is up. There's a couple important things to note in terms of the zoning for this site. The in effect zoning bylaw on this site is the West Hill zoning bylaw of the former municipality of Scarborough. That's bylaw 10327. The West Hill bylaw does not have a definition for supportive housing. Rather, it requires 1 stall per unit generally, meaning 86 units would require 86 parking stalls. I think it's our suggestion here that 86 parking stalls is far in excess of what would be required for the good functioning of this project, particularly given that it is supportive housing. By some quirk of an avenue study taking place at the same time on Kingston Road, citywide bylaw 569 does not apply to this site. However, city staff have endorsed reference to 569 as a rationale for reduced parking rates in their staff report. 569 would require 0.1 parking stalls per unit of supportive housing, meaning 86 units would require 8.6 parking stalls, aka 9 parking stalls. Next slide, please. This is an image looking from Kingston. We're looking northwest on Orchard Park towards the proposed development. You can see the driveway in the foreground on the right. The 5-story building is what we are proposing. The building height and setbacks are as of right. We are only looking for a variance related to the parking count. The height and massing are comparable to a building that you see ghosted in the background, which is a 5-story apartment building under construction right now. Next slide, please. So this is the last slide we have to present, but I think it's worth noting that unlike the first 2 modular supportive housing projects, this proposal, we are proposing 3 parking stalls to support staff and visitors in particular. Our understanding is that parking has not been an issue at either of the 2 prior modular supportive housing projects. However, we do recognize that we are in Scarborough, and traffic congestion and transit access being what they are, we understand that there may be a slightly different balance that's appropriate here. So we think 3 would be appropriate, although we think there's a case to be made for 0. So in total and in summation, I think our request is for a minor variance that seeks to balance providing as much supportive housing as is reasonable, provides meaningful outdoor amenity space for these vulnerable residents, and achieves the good and smooth functioning of this project and the broader community. Madam Chair, I think that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin, for your presentation. I do echo with your comments. This isn't a strategic initiative of the city. It is something that the council desires. It's certainly a much-needed project in the town to help deal with the issues of homelessness. So I really appreciate this project. The variants before us today are indeed minor in nature, and the one thing to emphasize is the fact that had it been the new parking zoning bylaw, it would only require 8 parking spots. It's the older bylaw that's triggering the requirement for 86 parking spaces. So I appreciate your presentation. Member M, I see your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Just to further echo and elaborate on your comments, Madam Chair, I think this is very, very pertinent to what is going on within our community as a whole. This initiative was brought forward to help, resolve the encampment issues that we are having at a variety of parks throughout the city. Providing a more safe lodging option for these people aside from shelters, and allowing the community to regain access and use of their park back. So to me, this is a really big overarching objective we're trying to achieve that I don't want us to get bogged down by technicalities such as a parking requirement to an old bylaw. Like both the planning report said, as well as the applicant on the line, these are people that are at risk of homelessness, in perpetuity. And so those type of people will very likely not have access to or ownership of a car when, the larger concern would be keeping food on the table and having a roof over their heads. So I just want to reiterate that if there's any concern over parking here, I really feel like we need to look at the bigger picture, no different than the application earlier this morning about the recreation complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Member M. Good comments. Member Macaulay?
Thank you. I support this application, but I have 2 questions of the applicant. I believe this is, the first question is, what's the difference between the supportive housing and the other housing? I guess it's affordable. One is supportive and one is shelter housing. Is there any difference between those 2?
That's a question for the applicant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I don't know if you want to answer this, but I can jump in if you're not readily available. Would you like me to answer?
Sure. Oh, you're
Okay,
asking?
I'll go ahead. So
are you asking me or were you asking somebody else?
Sorry, the applicant, Ryan from CREM is also on the line. I was going to give him the opportunity to answer, but I think I can jump in and he can interrupt me if necessary. So both of the buildings on the site are proposed as supportive housing. So the motel building will contain suites, and they will have services and supports that they will go and access in the modular building, which we are constructing as part of this. So there is amenity space as well as support rooms, administrative functions in the main building. As a whole, it is all supportive housing. It is not shelter housing.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. My second question is, again, knowing this area, knowing some of the concerns that are some of the social concerns and welfare concerns, are any of these housing suitable for containing children, providing accommodation for children as part of the family? In other words, I'm looking at, are there going to be children from here needing access to the local school, which at the moment is, I believe, an inner city school.
So, Member Macaulay, this is just a sort of an information question, right? It has nothing to do with the
That's
variance.
correct. That's all it is. I've already said I support the variance.
Okay, all right. So it's just an information question. So who would like to address it?
I think I can address this again, Kevin, and maybe perhaps speaking out of turn, not running the program, but having spoken about it and heard about it at great length. This particular phase of modular supportive housing, as I understand it, is targeting singles in particular. So all of the units in this building are studio apartments. There are not family suites in this round of modular housing. I'm not sure if that's a future suite, but that is not something that's provided for in this proposal.
Thank you very much. I had seen the drawings for the apartment building, and obviously they're handicap units and single bedroom units, but I wasn't sure about the conversion of the motel, what was happening there. Thank you very much for allowing my questions and letting me become a little bit more familiar with this proposal.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And we have Member Said. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Kevin, you have a good presentation. And the project is really very strategic, and it's the need of the time. City is doing a wonderful job for taking these kind of projects. Again, when I look to the nature of the project, rationale of the project, that do satisfy me. It's really important when we look at the numbers. But for the time being, I'm not talking about the variances over here. Yes, again, a question is, it could be, that was a great question from Member Macaulay. In continuation to that, yes, there are no parking spot for the residents of 86 dwellings, but what about any parking spot for the visitors? Is there any possibility or consideration for that?
I'll go ahead and answer that question. Thank you for the question, Member Said. I think the 3 parking spots we do imagine to satisfy both staff parking as well as visitor parking. In addition, there is a Wheel-Trans drop-off proposed street side as well. Our experience tells us, at least on the first 2 modular buildings that are admittedly in the downtown core, that visitor parking is not in high demand. So there is a use of transit. But again, being in Scarborough, it is a different context. We do need to provide some allowance for visitor parking.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin.
Thank you. All right, so let's move forward with the application now. So if there are no further questions, and I don't see any members of the committee, members of the public registered. So if no further questions, can I please have a motion on this one? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of the variance for 4626 Kingston Road to provide a minimum of 3 parking spaces.
Thank you.
I don't believe there's any conditions at all.
You're correct, there is no condition. So we have a motion for approval for this application. Seconder, Member Said, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second the motion for approval.
All right, all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously and the application is approved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we now move on to item number 31, in which Madam Chair will be excusing herself. I will be carrying on. May we please get Nadeem Ifran back on the line, please?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Hi, Nadeem. Thank you. So you were prepared to give us a presentation, which I think would be well suited for our committee, just because there are a few moving parts. I also, before we get into your presentation, want to ensure that you were aware of the various conditions that staff have provided. We have urban forestry conditions for 2 lots, and they are condition number 2 and 3. We also have engineering service conditions beyond the standard conditions of consent, requesting a road widening. So I just want to ensure you are agreeable and understand those conditions.
Madam Chair, I have reviewed those conditions and I acknowledge and agree with the conditions.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. So if you would like to proceed, Nadeem, you have 5 minutes to explain your severance and associated variances.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Katrina, I would like to bring it up, the Exhibit 1, which is the lot frontage study. So we have studied the neighborhood, and we have found almost 70, um, 47, if you could go at the bottom, I believe 72 lots were studied, and out of that 45 were undersized and or similar to what we are requesting. And I would like to show the committee members the map of the study area. It's Exhibit 2. Yes. So we are here at the bottom of the map, 1361. We look at on the north side, north and west, we have a row of lots which are approximately 15 meter wide. We have a row of lots along Conlin. These lots are about 15 meter or similar lot sizes. We have on the east side, on the south side of um, Military Trail, and these lots were severed or approved in 2013 with the staff support. And these lot frontages, they were originally the similar size lots or larger lots with the requirement of the 21 meter lot frontages and 880 square meters. And we have 830 square meters. And these were severed into much smaller lots with the 15 meter lot frontages. These 15 meters are considered on an angle, but when we actually look at, they are about 45 when we take the perpendicular distance from, side lot lines. They're about 45, and they've been developed, beautifully built. These are also the precedents we would like to committee to consider. Going to lot area, we are required to have, that's the second variance. We're required to have 836, and typically we're providing 808. If we were to compare these lot frontages and lot areas to the lots across the street, the lot frontages required are 15 meter and 696. So these lots will still exceed what the lots on the north side and on the east side are located and exist. We believe the lot area would not hinder any development of the new dwelling, causing any further variances for the lot coverages or the setbacks. These lots can support a decent sized dwelling. Going to further, the variance number 3, which is 0.52, we have submitted a data sheet looking at the previous approvals in the area, and the approvals have been granted up to 0.68, and we are requesting only 0.52. So again, the enlarged FSI or additional FSI would not cause into lot coverage issues or setback issues, and there would not be any adverse effects on these dwellings or the properties adjacent to our property. We're going to go to the wall height. We will go to the wall height. The examiner, I kind of disagree with the examiner because she took the stringent option to calculate the established grade. She took the east and west property lines of the both or combined lots, so which caused a one established grade calculation. And when she calculated from one established grade, it came out as a variance. If these lots were approved and they are considered individually, we may not even have the variance, or would be a very small difference in the wall height. But nonetheless, there is no height variance for these dwelling. So we consider that these variances are very minor. There are precedents on these lot frontages and lot areas. These are few leftover lots, and perhaps good candidate for the lot severance. They meet the 4 test. We believe the proposed severance respects the criteria outlined in the official plan, and it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. It will be able to support a decent sized dwelling, and it is required in the public interest, as the road widening is required and will be provided by our client. And we believe these variances are minor, and we request the committee to consider this for approval.
Thank you, Nadeem. Now, Katrine, can you just quickly go to, it says applicant previous COE decisions? I think that's what Nimran was referring to, that I just wanted to just take a second look at. So this is really in relation to like the FSI variance, correct? Or actually, it has the lot areas and the lot frontages. So within Military Trail, which is the only one on this one, it appears that it was only the FSI, but then on your other spreadsheet, the other spreadsheet did the lot area, lot frontages.
That's right.
Right, okay, so for the FSI, you're seeing a range of 0.5 to 6.1, and you're requesting
0.52.
Okay, understood. Can you just go back also to the supplementary, Katrine? The one that had all of the lot areas. Like I saw all these 15s for the lot frontages, but you guys were scrolling so quickly. And I did look at this a few days ago, but I just wanted to see how many of those actually were around that 800 square meters. Nadeem, can you just tell me which?
It's the exhibit 1, I believe.
Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Just up more.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we look at the 1276, it's comparable 743 lot area.
As well as 1292 is even smaller. Okay. Okay, so there's a handful of them. It's many that are either the frontage is smaller, but the overall lot area is bigger, or vice versa. But there is a couple that have the same configuration with an undersized lot frontage and an undersized lot area, but there is precedence. Okay, thank you for confirming that. All right, I'll bring that now back to committee members. Any questions, committee members? For Nadeem? Yes, member Ann?
Thank you. Perhaps Nadine, we can take a look at that first chart that you showed with the lots on Military Trail. My question's dealing with the tree cover. Are we able to get that drawing back up? No, the one area map, Military Trail. That one, yes. Okay. I think it's a good example. I noticed that the forestry comments as part of the conditions of development engineering are recommending deferral because they need an arborist report.
And maybe and I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but we went through this in the morning debrief meeting. So that is an old memo. There was a newer memo that was received from Urban Forestry that provided conditions number 2 and 3, and they're no longer recommending deferral. I had myself brought up that question to Colin this morning in this morning's session that you unfortunately did not attend.
Unfortunately, I was unaware that you had this meeting this morning. Unfortunately, I received the memos to cancel it. I did not receive a memo to put it in place. However, I'm glad that it has been addressed. So the conditions have been changed just for a submission of a complete application. Is that correct?
Conditions to injure a tree as well as compensation for any tree that is being removed.
Okay. My concern, as I said, is the number of trees on the corner of Lash Court and Military Trail, which is the house next door to this. The committee may remember that we had that application and we deferred it because of the number of trees and the difficulty of creating a driveway without destroying those trees. So when I saw that forestry also had this as a condition, I didn't know whether this application would be considered premature until they determine exactly what trees could be saved and the location of the driveways. I
Perhaps
gather,
Nadine-
can
sorry.
Nadine then respond to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, Nadeem, if you could just confirm the discussions with urban forestry after that initial memo that led to them being comfortable with providing conditions to allow the application to proceed.
Madam Chair, through you, Madam Chair, we received a memo back maybe 6 months, 7 months ago, and there were no concern from the urban forestry. There was another memo by the engineering requesting for the 0.4 road widening. We revised our drawings, we resubmitted, it was circulated again, and the forestry did not raise any flags. And again, we received just a week ago a memo which was kind of being displayed, and they were asking only the condition 2 and 3. So there is no concern that has been, forwarded to us other than just submitting the arborist report and seeking the approval and putting a condition for the committee approval.
So have you gone ahead and prepared an arborist report and subsequently submitted it? Or is that going to be done as part of submitting a permit for the tree?
As a part of the permit tree.
Okay, so just to clarify, we did receive a memo from October 12th that stated that they thought the application was premature and that they wanted to defer it until they had received an arborist report to accurately locate the trees on the property. And then 2 days later, we've received a revised memo, so on October 14th, that basically supersedes their October 11th or October 12th memo, now being able to say that we are comfortable putting in conditions, and they put in conditions number 2 or 3. And I'm assuming that you will go through all of the proper channels if it comes down to having to apply to remove any trees.
Thank you for that clarification. It's unfortunate that that second memo was not sent to us with the supplementary information that we received Monday night. However, the comments from the residents, I see none of them are on this, we're all dealing with trees. Have you spoken to any of the residents in the rear of these properties on Lash Court regarding the preservation of any trees?
Through you, Madam Chair, my client has canvassed the whole neighborhood, and he was able to actually get 3 support letters. So I was also informed by the staff that they received several calls from the neighbors, and their main concern was not the lot frontages, but how the houses will look like. And when they were shown the elevation, there were no flags or concerns raised. So my client, he went door to door. He did not see any, he was able to see 3 support letters and within the neighborhood.
Through the chair, through the chair, may I clarify something?
Yes.
So the reason why Urban Forestry submitted a revised memo was in response to the engineering comments. Engineering was requires a road widening. In response to those comments, that the tree was which was originally on private property is now on city property. So that is why Urban Forestry submitted the revised memo.
Thank you, Colin. Okay, with that, I just wanted to say we once again really need to focus on the actual severance and the variances. We don't have an arborist report before us. We have only what we have before us. And I'm not entirely sure how many trees there are, or we don't really even have, because it's so preliminary, we're just at the severance phase. We don't have this extra detail. So we have to just make like a decision, educated decision based on the information we have before us, and that is just the variances at hand. So with that, I'm just asking if any other members have any other questions before we could take this into committee for a decision. Okay. Okay, with that, if there's no further questions for Nadeem and we have no other members of the public wishing to speak, I'd like to take this into committee. Any final comments? Member McKay?
Yes, just very quickly, Madam Chair, should we consider the variances before the consent, as one of the things we look at with consent are sort of the shape and dimension of lots?
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Deputy Secretary Treasurer?
Through the chair, it's best to deal with the consent first, because if the committee cannot support the consent, then it's a moot point to consider the variances. Since the variances are the variances for the consent are related to lot area and lot frontage. So my recommendation: deal with the consent first, then the minor variances.
Should you feel that the lot area and the lot frontage variances are appropriate, right? So if you are uncomfortable with either of those two, then we can't facilitate a consent, right? Because you would need to have approval to undersize the lot area and the lot frontage in order to pass the consent. So I just leave that with you. Gary, I think we've lost you. You have the bandwidth icon now on your screen. Gary, are you there? There we go. Okay, you're back.
Back.
So did we confuse you further, Gary, or are you comfortable to proceed? Oh, and we've lost him again. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do we have quorum if we continue to use?
Yes, you do. And I think Gary heard you because he miraculously reappeared. The wonders of technology.
Okay, so did that satisfy your question, Gary? Can we proceed with a motion, perhaps? Oh my goodness.
Okay, so Madam Chair, we have the quorum. I think we can proceed with that.
Okay, may I please have a motion, someone? Member Said?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move the motion for approval of item number 31. It's a consent application B0026/20SC with the standard condition of consent and also the condition by the engineering services and the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Member Macaulay?
Since we did this, can I suggest a friendly amendment to your conditions, the conditions of development engineering as revised? Because the ones I have are not recommending this. But the ones you received this morning are revised.
Deputy Secretary Treasurer, can we just say as per the engineering conditions, or do we need to make an amendment?
No, the engineering conditions should suffice. We'll
thank you,
we'll
Madam.
know what to do. We'll make sure the correct conditions are in there.
Okay. So may I have a seconder to the motion? Okay, Member Macaulay seconds the motion. All in favor? All right.
Through the
motion
chair,
passes.
are you voting as well?
I thought I can't because it would be an even.
You're right. My apologies. You are
Correct.
correct. You are correct.
Yeah. I learned my mistake last time, remember? Okay, thank you. So the motion is passed.
Yes.
And application number 31 for the consent has been approved. Now can we proceed to the minor variance applications? May I have some motions, please? Member Said?
Madam Chair, I move the motion for approval of item number 31, and these are the minus variance application. Three applications are there: A0156, A0163, A0164, and there are no conditions to that.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay? We cannot hear you, Member Macaulay.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, the motion carries. The applications for the minor variance A0156, A0163, and A0164 have been approved. Thank you. We can have Madam Chair return.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member M, for helping me with this item. So we are now going to move to item number 32, which is 39 Meadow Avenue. And can we have Peter Jerusik, please? Hi, Peter.
Yes, I am present.
Hi there. So Peter, would you like to make a presentation or do you want to go into questions directly?
I'll do a short presentation if I can.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
This application we've been working on with the planning department to modify, to bring them to satisfy with our proposed design. Just a quick note, I do notice that the forestry department did have was not an objection, and then they revamped their memo last minute and objected the severance regarding a tree in the front. Now we have retained an arborist, and we do have enough room to push the house further back to pull the house back from the actual tree protection zone, which would actually bring down one of the variances, which is improves upon the how do I say, the landscape open space. So the only thing, and this was just because yesterday the client, the arborist got back to us. The one variance that said required minimum soft landscaping is 50%. We were able to push the house back out of the tree protection zone of that tree to save it and increase the soft landscaping to 62%. So that's just a little minor change here that we can accommodate for the front yard. And that would actually push the tree, allow us to save that elm tree that the forestry department had a concern about. All the other properties here in the area, they're very small. All the properties backing onto our property are 5 meters or less in size. This is a very this area in the community has a lot of smaller dwellings, and it is a semi-detached zone, so we're trying to fit within it. And I believe that these situations here, these variances do meet the 4 tests. And I leave it up to, I know there's some concerns with some neighbors, so I'm willing to hear them and respond back to them at that point, unless the committee has some questions for me.
Okay, thanks, Peter. I see a hand raised. So Member M, go ahead.
Hi, Peter. Sorry, there was just a lot of different staff reports back and forth. Like there was one from the tree protection department from April, and then another one from October 14th, and then there's a report from the engineering services, all sort of with different concerns with different variances. So I just need a little bit more input as to what exactly is going to be done to sort of address these concerns. So if I could start with the tree one, you had said you're going to push the house back. So when they comment and say they request denying of the variance associated with part 1 and part 2, variance number 10 on the soft landscaping, that would be resolved with pushing the building. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I don't know if Katrine could put up the site plan. That I might be able to illustrate that a bit better with the site plan up on the screen for everybody to see. One of the variances we're looking at is a 17.7 meter building length. We do have room we can push the house back up to 19 meters for building depth without triggering a committee of adjustment. So keeping that 17.7, we were able to push the house back 1.2 meters. Our first intention was to line it up with the streetscape, but as the fact
Peter,
that we received.
sorry, Peter, I apologize for this, but let the plan come up first.
Okay, there we go.
I'm a very visual person. Thank you.
Understood. So if you look at the front yard, our houses were proposed to be lined up with 37 metal, because that whole street line there is very consistent in terms of that. So we were just trying to keep in line with that. Now we do have a 17.76 building length. We're able to push the house back another 1.2 meters. That helped out with two issues. Number one, with our arborist report, it's that tree right there where it's between 37 and our property in the boulevard. There's a circle there. To the left, whoever has the cursor there. That circle there. That's the tree. So the tree protection zone is 3.6 meters. Right now, our garage is about 1 meter into that. So if when we push the house back 1.2 meters, we actually create a 4.6 meter tree protection zone around it, which is the 3.6 meters plus an extra meter buffer recommended by our arborist. So we're able to push the house back without triggering any other variances. It's still the same. And that would allow us to have that tree protected now and not having to cut it down, because their concern was that it'll be injured because that building foundation were within the tree protection zone. So that we of course this came up on Friday and Monday. So by the time we got the arborist report, we haven't had a chance to go to the forestry on it, but we do have the arborist report saying that if we push it back 1.2 meters, that in the arborist report we can now apply just to protect that tree as opposed to injuring or removing it. Secondly, the other issue is the transportation, and I apologize. I should have removed that variance because transportation did clear up the driveways. As you can see on the ones submitted, our driveways are 2.6, but our variances called for 3.2. So variances number 12 on the notice are no longer required because we met with the transportation's requirements and narrowed the driveways to 2.6.
Okay, and so that's the email that we have from Development Planning Review saying that the revised site plan is satisfactory. Is
Correct,
that
and you have that in your records there. That
Yes.
is the revised site plan for this
From
one. Yes.
transportation,
Okay,
yes,
so
we have that.
For transportation.
Okay, so that supersedes the March 8th transportation memo then?
Yeah, that's correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Engineering, you mean engineering, yes. So engineering has cleared as of the email dated October 18th.
Yep, okay, sorry, like I said, there was just so many staff reports and updated comments that I got a little bit confused as to what was now not an issue anymore. The last thing was, and this is still from the Tree Protection and Plan Review Department, was their concern over the hard landscaping. I've known in other applications that we've seen in the past to resolve that, there was, the request for permeable pavers. I feel like that, because they were concerned with the amount of paving as a result of the two tandem driveways, and that there would no longer be soft landscaping in the front.
I agree with that, yeah.
Okay.
There's two things. So variance number 10, when we put, and this will be the trigger point to help you guys out. Variance number 10, if we amend it to say front yards landscaping is not 50%, but 62%, then that will ensure that the buildings will be pushed back. And I did put on the plans that we have submitted to forestry. It was just yesterday after at the arborist report. We did label the driveways as permeable pavers on the driveways.
That was
Yes,
already
and if you
considered.
want to incorporate that in any decision, we are fine with that. We're amenable to that.
Okay. So just the last thing is that, so it seems like there's been changes to the variances. Are they reflected properly in our notice?
The current notice is reflected what's on the screen there with the site plan and the revised plans. Correct. We have shortened the plans working with the planning department. The houses themselves were slightly larger, but they asked us to reduce it. So we reduced it to 150 square meters or 1,700 square feet approximately. So these aren't overly big houses, but if the committee has been up and down that road, you would see that the majority of the lots are within 5.5 meters to some as low as 4.8 meters wide. So we are on the slightly larger side compared to a lot of the smaller lots that are existing lots of record there.
Well, my question really is that the variances that we have before us, the square meters in terms of the floor space is larger than what you're saying it is. And like, as a result of the shifting of the house, I want to make sure that this isn't affecting any of the variances before us as we consider them.
It's not. So of course, lot area and lot frontage are no control. The
Yeah.
lot coverage remains at 0.46, and the floor space index remains at 0.87, which is 155.7 square meters. That has not changed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So am I hearing any change to any variance here?
The only variances
Nothing.
that I request is variance number 12 is removed on both parcels. So that's the driveway width, because the engineering department has resolved
Correct.
that in their last memo, but it's not reflected in the notice. That's variance number 12 are eliminated. And variances number 10 get increased from 50% soft landscaping to 62% soft landscaping.
Okay, and I just want to confirm, although I think Member M has asked you that question as well, because of that pushing back the house by a meter to increase the front yard soft landscaping, there are no other variances triggered, for example, depth or anything?
No, because the variance that we only had was building length, which was 17.7.
Correct.
And the building length still remains, and we can push it back to that magical 19 building depth line.
That's what I
without
meant to
triggering
ask.
any more building depth.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
meant to ask. It will still be within the permitted building depth.
Correct. I'm not triggering any additional I won't be
Okay.
coming back to try to fix anything.
Well, if you do, then
If that's the question you're trying to determine.
I was trying to clarify, but if that's the case, then you know what the process is, so, okay, all right. Okay, so just want to reiterate for everyone's benefit, for both parts, variance number 12 is being eliminated or has been requested to be withdrawn, to be removed, and variance number 10 for both 1 and 2, the proposed minimum required front yard soft landscaping is 62%. Okay. All right, thank you, Peter, for that. I think we should move on to speaking with our speakers. And if there are any questions, we'll come back to you. Fiona Clark. Fiona, you with us?
Yes. Yep. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Fiona, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Fiona Clark, 214 Blantyre. So this development will be at the bottom of my garden. I was concerned to hear that you do now, the proposal is now for 2 houses instead of 1, which makes both taller than normal. And my major concern is that the eaves would be 0 meters from the lot line. So my question is, how would there be any maintenance done on the eaves or the roof, or indeed painting the side of the house? Or where's the ladder going to go?
Okay.
Would they be proposing that they put a ladder in my garden to reach their house?
You know what, Fiona, when Peter Jerusik comes back, we're going to get a response from him at the time. You carry on with your questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there any idea right now as to how many windows would be on the side of each house facing, my property?
That's a very good question, although I would say that the elevation drawings were included in the package, but I would not mind asking Peter for that confirmation as well. So we'll get that answer from him.
Thank you. As a layperson, I found it very difficult. They were so small and blurred. I tried to go online on the website to see if I could find plans, but there was 10,000 responses to 39 meta, so I couldn't find them. So I found those diagrams unusable for my purposes. Also, I'm concerned with the higher height of the houses. How's that going to impact the sun that we get in our gardens? And also, will there be sort of one new long fence to encompass all 6 properties beside the house, which is facing me, or by the side of me? Will that impact on our fences? Is there any concern about damaging the roots of the trees on our properties when they dig down for the foundation? I have a tree right by my fence and then one about 12 feet in from the fence. So I'm a bit worried about those. And the other thing, I guess, is there a proposed date for when this will all begin, please?
When they will begin construction?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So those are very valid questions, and we're going to ask the applicant to respond to it. So those are, as I said, good questions, but do you actually have any concern with the proposed consent application to create the 2 lots and then a house to go on each of the lots and the associated variances?
Yes, the variances I was concerned about were 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, which is to make cover more of the lot with the house, 82.0 square meters as opposed to 59.02. 2 houses instead of 1, because we were envisioning 1 house would go there, where there would be sort of breathing room around the house. And now with the 2 houses, they're going to be tall and skinny and right to the property line. And the walls are higher. Instead of 7 meters, they're 8.7. And 9.5 meters for I guess that's to the roof line. And then the eaves, the big thing is with us is the eaves. If the eaves can't be maintained or if they overflow, that water is going to go onto my property.
Okay, perfect. That helps us. Thank you very much. Anything more,
Thank
Fiona?
you. No, I think that's good. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. We'll have Peter respond to those. Moving along, Derek Leung. He's not there? Okay. So staff has advised me that Derek Leung has not signed in. Can I have Marina Burke?
Yes, hello?
Hi there. Is this Jeff
hear?
Burke and Marina
Hi.
Burke?
Yes, it's us.
Okay,
So
someone
we
has
basically
their,
have the
sorry,
same concerns as Fiona.
I'm getting a feedback. Can someone mute their additional device or microphone?
Yes, we have the same concerns as Fiona.
Okay, you have the same, what's your address, sir?
212 Blantyre.
Okay, I'm going to ask again to please mute any additional devices. Jeff, by any means, you have some devices going on?
No, I don't.
Okay, do you want to mute your computer?
Sure. Okay. We have the exact same concerns as Fiona.
Okay. All right, so you have all the concerns that Fiona has listed, okay? Anything else you would like to add?
No, that's it.
Okay, well,
Oh, we have a tree in our backyard, which is right at the fence. So I don't know how they're gonna put a house up right against our lot when the tree is right at the end of our yard.
okay, all right, so we will ask Peter to respond to how those trees will be protected in terms of construction. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. Okay, can we have Peter back again?
Hello.
Hi, Peter.
Yes, so I've heard the comments from the neighbors, and I can, as I've been working here on the drawings here, I can simplify things. We have a new way of doing eaves, so I can remove actually the requirements for 0 eaves. So numbers 9 and on both where it said 0.3 meters, we can remove those variances because we'll do the eaves right up against the building and setback in the roof, which would make us comply with the roof eaves. Our setback is 0.45 for the building, so our building is 18 inches in from the property lines. Maybe that was kind of misleading for them when they saw the 0 meter, thinking that the house is right up against the property line, but it's not. And 0.45 is in compliance with the setbacks. But I can remove, I just checked right now online, I can remove variances number 9 and make the eaves comply with the 0.3 meter setback. Okay, if that helps out with that. In terms of the windows, there are no windows facing into their backyards. Okay, that is a 0.45 setback, and windows are not permitted unless they're fire rated. But in this instance, we did not create any fire rated windows.
So there are no windows
that.
on facing 214 and 212.
Correct.
Okay, and what about, there was concern about shadows?
The shadows, in terms of our roof height is on a pitched roof. So regarding the shadows, we do have requesting a slightly higher wall height of 1 meter, but they are on, our house is facing, compared to their property, our house is on the west side. So they will be continue on getting any morning sunlight, and in the afternoon, it's only affected in the evenings or mid-afternoon or evenings because we are on the west side. Any house in that area would cast a shadow on their backyards to any degree. 1 meter higher, 1 meter lower, it all depends on the season, might impact a little bit more. However, as you know, in the committee, there's no purview in terms of no right to sunlight. But regardless, any house being built there would be allowed up to 0.45 meters, and that extra little bit of a height is requesting is on the pitch side, so that pitched roof would there'll still be a massing there that could potentially cause shadows. Now, just let you know that their houses are facing Blantyre, which are further away, so it would only be casting shadows into their backyard areas there. In terms of that tree that he mentioned, it is within his property. It is a 0.25 diameter tree. And that tree itself, typically my arborist report says to hand back that area and do root inspections prior to any forming, and to inject recommendations of injecting vitamins into the root structure. It is on the smaller side of a tree. It says 0.25 diameter regarding that. And actually a size of that tree does not require an application either for injury or demolition. However, we will do the proper steps for the neighbors to hand back that area to be sensitive to the root structures there, as it is the neighbor's tree. As for the fence, my client will be building a brand new board fence for the benefit of all the neighbors backing onto the property as well. So whatever state that fence is right now, he's more than willing to replace that fence at his expense and rebuild it for them.
Okay, all right. I think you've captured, timing of construction.
Timing of construction is very hard nowadays with the city processes, as you guys are losing a lot of people in your city hall. Typically, once the committee approves a plan and appeal periods are done, at this point, we'd be looking at spring build.
In spring, okay.
March, April.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Committee members, any questions for Peter? Members say, go ahead.
Mr. Peter, there were concern about variance number 5 when both Plona and the other speaker, they showed their concern that there are more than one residential unit is being constructed on this lot. So I just need your thoughts on that too.
The zoning notice came out like this, but there was a disclaimer at the bottom saying that if it's severed, then it is 1 unit per lot. So I don't know why that one's there. If the consent is granted, I don't need variance number 5, but it was part of the zoning notice. That's why I didn't want to, unless there's some new policy that's in place. That's what was created. I don't know why. These are single attached dwellings. So they're semi-detached, all on their separate properties. So 1 unit each. So we're proposing 2 units, 1 unit on each new property.
That also
so should we take it confirmed that there will be only one one unit on this lot? Yes?
Yes, Mohammed, have you seen
If the,
those narrow
if the
lots?
consent is granted.
Yes, if the consent is
That's what
granted.
it was very strange, yeah.
Yeah.
If the consent is granted, there will be one unit on the lot, right?
One house on each of the lots. Yes, they're narrow. They can barely accommodate one. I don't know how I can do two. So yes, so if this, and again, we don't want to dispute the zoning notice because that's not something that we're experts on. But yes, the end result would be that it's one unit per lot.
So, Madam Chair, can we remove this variance from here if
I
that's the
wouldn't
case?
remove it because as I said, this is a notice issued by our zoning in the building. And I would not, at least my opinion would be to not remove it, leave it, because all it does is just reinstating or reiterating the fact that it's only one unit per lot. Okay? But that was a good catch because I was also a little confused, but I think it's technicality and we don't want to get into it.
Through the chair, this was submitted on a zoning waiver,
Oh,
the minor variance applications.
so Peter, it was yourself or someone.
We had a zoning notice, but after planning department requested us to reduce the house, we modified the reduction was, but I didn't remove that variance. I have the zoning notice in front of us. I'm fine to remove it. I do know there's some plans examiners that put that disclaimer in saying if there's no consent, then you need two variances. I'm comfortable enough in this working in the municipality here to remove that variance. If you guys, I'm fine with it. I am certain that this will pass without that variance. I can still get the one unit because in essence, that's what it is. So the number 5, I'm fine to remove it. If that's a bone of contention here.
Okay, no, I don't think it was a bone of contention. It was just confusing. So Colin has confirmed that it's okay to remove it?
Through the chair, my suggestion is just keep it the way it is, because that was from the original zoning notice. And I guess really the intention, as discussed, is that if for whatever reason the consent does not go through, I think it's really to ensure that once the consent goes through, then
It's a moot point.
it's a moot point.
Okay, all right. So leaving it there or removing it doesn't really make any difference. It just additional bells and whistles until the committee makes a decision on the consent, right?
And I can actually read out to you from the notice. It says maximum permitted dwellings is 1, proposed is 2, does not comply, severance is required. That's what the notice said.
Okay, all right. So I think,
And we are doing the severance.
okay, all right. So for now, we'll just leave it there. If you need it, you take it. If you don't need it, you can ignore it.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna reconfirm all the modifications. So 1 remains the same, 2 remains the same, 3 remains the same, 4 remains. Number 5 is being eliminated. Number 6 remains the same, 7 remains the same.
5 is not being eliminated.
Oh, 5,
No.
sorry, my apologies.
I think I think it's just 9. 9 is being eliminated. 12 is being eliminated.
Correct.
And variance 10 is being reduced.
To 62.
Increased from 50% to 62%.
Perfect. You said it better than I did, Colin. So number 9 is eliminated, number 12 is eliminated, and 10 is being modified to proposal of 62%, and it's for both the parts. Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, can I ask your indulgence that we can actually see this list of what we're changing?
Sure.
I got 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 are changing. Maybe they're not. 5 isn't changing, I know now. But 4 and 6, 7, and 9, and there's 11 variances, at least there was yesterday. Can we see if Katrine could put up the variances and we can see the new numbers, it would help?
Sure. So Katrine, do you mind putting up the variances? So part 1, Oh, Ali. So part 1 has 12 variances, and then we'll show you what's being removed and what's being modified. Yes, I should remove 5 there. So starting from part 1 through 8, no changes. Can you cross out the 9, please? So 9's removed. And then number 10, this changes to 62%. Okay, that's finally. That's okay. That's okay. We know it's 62%. And then number 12 is, sorry, yes, no, this one's eliminated. And the same for part 2. Does that clarify, Member Macaulay? Just go text. Just add a T. No, outside of that. Yes. I know. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. You're good now, Member Macaulay? So basically, it's a little delayed, but variances have been eliminated and modified as presented. I can't hear you.
I think I need a magnifying glass to be able to see this. I'm just going to assume you're doing whatever you think you're doing.
Well, you would assume right. So I would say for part 1, 9 is eliminated, 10 is revised to 62%, and 12 is eliminated. Part 2, again, 9 is eliminated, 10 is revised to 62%, and 12 is eliminated. Okay?
Okay, so all this business of they're concerned about 0 side yards and windows and building height, and eaves. Eaves, that we're not having any eaves except in the roof, I gather.
Well,
And it's
that's been
still,
removed.
And the 0 setback is to the eaves, and it's been removed. So the setback, the side yard setback maintains the bylaw. What didn't maintain the bylaw was the eaves, but he has amended it to use a different type of eave, so he no longer needs variance number 9.
Okay, and what's the setback to the side, what's the side yard setback then? Do we have one?
You mean a variance for that, or?
What is the?
It complies.
It complies. There's no variance for side yard setback. It complies.
All right. So you're telling me the house will not be on the property line?
Yes. The variance that was requested for reduction in the setback for eaves has been eliminated. The proposal will comply.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Any more questions? Can I have the screen back, please, Ellie? Thank you. All right, I don't see any more questions, so I guess if there are no questions, we take the matter into committee. All right, members, any comments? Member M?
I appreciate it's a little bit of a convoluted application. There was a lot of variances, but there has been some revisions to remove a whole pile of them. You know, what really remains that in my eyes is impactful isn't the lot frontage, isn't the lot area, isn't you know, the dwelling height. Those are all minor in terms of numerics as well as like intent. There's many other instances of this in the community. The lot coverage as well. I mean, it does appear to be a lot higher, but with these smaller lots, there has to be some sort of relief for this coverage to facilitate any dwelling on these properties. So overall, other than variance 4, all of the other ones are very minor numerically. It does appear like a lot of variances because we've got what now? 10 before us. It was 12, but then we've had 2 removed. So, and the ones that we do have before us, we're looking at a difference of 9 meters versus 9.5 meters. We're looking at a building length of 17 meters versus 17.7 meters. Sidewalls of 8.7 versus 7. Like these all are, they're not asking for like 5-meter additions to, or 5 meters beyond the bylaw requirement. So, it does look like a lot, but there are other examples within this area of severances that we've approved in the past, and so I'm only just trying to be consistent with what we've previously done, and I particularly feel supportive of this application, especially considering all the additional revisions.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other? I see none. Okay, then can we, I guess, prepare for a motion now? Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have examined all the variances and yeah, we have settled to that as Member Ebb was mentioning. So I am willing to move the motion for approval of item number 32, consent application B0001/21SC as amended, whereas variance number 9 and 12 has been eliminated and variance number 10 has been amended with the subject condition standard consent conditions.
And conditions of urban forestry?
Through the, conditions of urban forestry.
And engineering services?
No conditions of engineering services because the transportation services issue had been addressed.
Okay, so standard conditions of consent and conditions of urban forestry.
Urban forestry.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
May I have a seconder, please? Member M, go ahead.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
All in favor of this motion? Motion's carried unanimously and all applications have been approved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of the agenda, I believe. There's nothing. Just want to confirm any other business? No other business? Sorry, Colin, you'll have to help me. I don't have the agenda open.
Through the chair, the only other items were information items.
Okay.
In terms of there was one TLAB appeal that was filed, 1478 to 1496 Kingston Road, which was approved by the committee and appealed by one of the neighbors. And since the last hearing, 3 TLAB Toronto local area appeal body orders have been issued for 905 Middlefield Road, 33 Catalina Drive, and 30 Cornell Avenue.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that information. And the date of the next meeting is November 17th. And may I have a motion to adjourn? Member Macaulay?
Before we have a motion to adjourn, can I get a clarification from Colin that we're going to proceed with the staff briefing as normal?
Yes.
So the fact that I'm not sure why we received no's and yeses and no's, but I should expect a staff briefing for the next number of meetings, correct?
Colin will Colin will let you know later on, okay, Member Macaulay? I think it's more an administrative question, so Colin will help you with that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, meeting to adjourn, please. Oh, sorry, motion to adjourn. Moved by Member McKay, seconded by myself. The meeting's adjourned. Have
All
a
right.
good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Not
Thanks,
easy.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mohammed. Thank you.